Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday. It is 8 p.m. My name is Paul Spencer. That is the legend, Bill Furman, and you are tuned in to College Football Frenzy. Bill, the season's getting closing the door on time here, Bill. I mean, it's almost over.
Yeah, and the championships are set, the bowls are set. College Football Committee certainly left us with plenty to talk about with the decisions they made, and another great week of football, though, in the championship weekend.
Definitely. I mean, a lot to talk about tonight, Bill. Of course, we'll get into the top four, the top 10, how they proceeded out for the final rankings, of course, get a little Heisman talk. And, Bill, we got a little bowl games coming up, too. Maybe we can talk about that as well tonight.
We'll do our best. These early bowls are kind of tough to deal with. A lot of 6-6 teams going at it, but hey, we'll give it a crack.
Hey, listen, some teams got left out. At least we can't leave the other teams out. We got to make them feel important too, Bill.
That's right. Hey, did you know, speaking of bowls, there's only one preseason top 20 or 25 team that did not make the bowl. Did not make the bowl. Yeah. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's a team who we expected some from, and Deion Sanders blew them out of the building on opening weekend at TCU, and they never recovered and are not bowl eligible.
Wow. Talk about going from the BCS Final Four there, Bill, to I can't even get a bowl game this year. That's wow.
How about that?
Jeez. Oh, man, I tell you, Bill. But, Bill, how about we talk about some games last week? Bill, championship weekend was last week, of course. We had 5 major games coming in last week. We touched base on these. Bill, let's start with that number one team versus Alabama. Alabama took care of business, Bill.
Yeah, they did, and that doesn't surprise me. I think I actually said I thought Alabama would win that game. And you know what? That game could have gone either way. Hey, Eddie. Tough defenses, tough running games, good plays, good quarterback play. Not super stat type quarterback play, but solid play. Good. Just a good football game.
Yeah, exactly, Eddie. We both picked Alabama. I mean, that defense, they're playing at the right time. And Bill, we said you can't give Nick Saban time, off the charts here, off the field, game planning here, because that defense, Bill, is just ferocious. I mean, I look at the box score here, and I tell you what, when you hold a Georgia team to 78 yards on the ground, that tells you something, that this Nick Saban team can beat you if they only score 20 points, Bill.
Yeah, and that's why we won't pick them tonight. But I think as we get into those final picks, Alabama's got a chance to be really dangerous here.
Yeah, I mean, we're going in the beginning of the season. Of course, Tommy Reese goes down to Alabama, Bill, and I was like, well, what are they going to be? They took Tyler Buckner down there. He's more of a running quarterback as well. Milroy. Not the greatest strong arm, but what is he? Is he the running quarterback? Well, they're leading into him. Let him do, just like with Penn State, take him off the leash. Let him do what he does best. And it's proven with that defense, Bill. Defense wins championships, and we start seeing that right here.
Yeah, and, it's funny you mentioned Tommy Reese, because I was going to bring that up as well. We were kind of hard on him early in the year, trying to figure out what they were and all that. But he deserves a ton of credit, along with Saban, on the development of Milroe and the development of that offense. They're good. They're a good football team.
Yeah, I was very hard on him, coming from Notre Dame there, Bill. And I was just, what is he? What can he do? The grass isn't greener on the other side. What do you want to say about it? But I tell you what, kudos to him, because he put Milroe in a position to say, hey, you know what? This is what you do great. This is what you're not so great at. Hey, let's just ride with what wins and let's go. Because if we score 14 to 20 points, that defense is going to win a game for us. So let's just roll with our punches here, and this, whatever works.
Yep, I'm with you.
Eddie says UGA game became inconsistent this year. Bill, what do you think? What do you see with Georgia here? Because I understand you go undefeated all throughout the season. You lose that SEC championship, Bill. But this Georgia team didn't look like the Georgia team last year, where they dominated from the opening coin toss to the last bell in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's because all their defensive players play for the Eagles.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much.
I mean, they lost a pile of guys off of that defensive front or defense over the last 2 years. They just keep getting rated by the NFL because they have that kind of talent. You can't stay at that level. And then they had an experienced quarterback who everybody was kind of down on. But you know what? The kid was a heck of a player. And, he left too. So
True.
They reloaded. They just didn't get the last step in. But it's a pretty successful year for Kirby Smart.
It's kind of bad though, Bill, which we'll talk about in the rankings here. You go undefeated and you lose that last game of the season by 3 points, Bill. Your entire season is based on 3 points, and you're not in the Final Four. Which we'll talk about a little bit later. That's to me is wow. I don't get it, Bill. Sometimes I don't get it. I really don't. But hey, kudos to Alabama. Now Alabama's going against a great team as well. The Final Four is set, but anything left with this game, Bill? I mean, what should have, could have, would have?
No. I mean, I think it. Like I said, it was what I expected. It was a smash mouth game. Alabama, Alabama just happened to win it. It's pretty clean game. Not a lot of penalties. So I think there was one turnover from Georgia, one fumble, no interceptions.
Yeah, just one.
No turnovers for Alabama. It was a good, clean football game. And if you're a fan that really had nothing invested except you want to watch great football, you couldn't ask for a better game.
Yeah, I mean, we both picked Alabama. We talked about it, and it happened. Kudos to them. Congratulations to Georgia as well. Great season as well. 3 points. That's kind of bad when you say 3 points cost your bowl season there, Bill. But let's go on to the Pac-12, Bill. Wow, Washington and Oregon once again, Bill, a 3-point game. 3 points. The first game, round one, went 3 points too, Bill. This game, 3 points. Insane.
Yeah, and hats off to Washington. This game wasn't as close as the score ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Washington was in pretty much control of this thing from the start. And, what were they? What did we say? 6-point dogs, 9-point dogs?
It was not, 9.5, Bill. 9.5 going in this game.
9-point dogs. And Washington just came out and got after them. And really, really salute to Washington for the way they played in this game.
I'll tell you what, Bill, that first quarter, being a 9-point dog, regardless of that, the way they came out in that first quarter, that defense, Bill, they were not giving up anything. And, Pac-12, we always talked about it, Bill, for the entire season. Do they play defense? Well, that first quarter, Bill, I thought Alabama was on the field changing uniforms here because they were pretty stout.
Yeah, they were. And so was the offense because Oregon had no answers.
Yeah.
Which gets us to the Michael Penix conversation. He was pretty darn good in a big game.
Definitely. I mean, his stats, 319 yards, 27 and 39, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The rushing, I mean, it was under 500 yards for the entire game. The rushing was 37 for 157, 2 TDs. But man, I tell you, Bill, Penix, I don't know what it is. The guy finds ways to win. You're in your boat. The Eagles, they continue to win. They lost this weekend, but they find ways to win, Bill. And this Washington team, they scrounge for wins, Bill. They find ways to win, either offensively, defensively. They find ways to win. And the biggest thing, they find ways to win close games, Bill.
Yeah, and I think what goes into that is when you look at Oregon, and everybody thought Oregon was going to win this game. A lot of people did, and giving them 9 points, and Washington just got after them on both sides of the ball, and and it's not like you beat the 23rd team; you beat the 3rd team.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, 100%. That to me, I mean, Bill, I want to ask you. We'll talk about Heisman a little bit here. Did this push maybe the Penix? We talked about Bo Nix, Penix. This could be the Heisman, statistic talk game. Who's 1, who's 2 right now? We'll talk about it a little bit later, Bill. But did this mean anything to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll definitely talk about that.
Absolutely. One thing it eliminated Bo Nix.
It sure did.
I mean, he's still there in the top 4, and he's invited to New York, and he should be, and all that, but he's not winning.
No, it was definitely not, which we'll talk about because I did create a little stat thing there for us, Bill. So we'll take a look at that because some of those numbers, Bill, are astounding. Put it that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
astounding.
Well,
But
there's some great players.
oh, there is, there is. Let's go to the Big 12, Bill. This wasn't really a game here. I mean, Oklahoma State. We talked about Oklahoma State possibly could win this game, possibly.
Yeah.
But Bill, 49-21 here. Ewers
Yeah,
put up.
I must have got hit in the head when I said that.
I did too, Bill.
Because I really thought Oklahoma State would at least play decent.
Yeah.
Should have took into account a little more of the 42-point loss to UCF. And Brock Ewers, it was like he was out there throwing against air.
Bill, his first half stats, 353 yards in the first half, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like throwing against air out there. The Oklahoma State defense was horrible. How they beat Oklahoma is hard to believe.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, they turned around after that Oklahoma win and beat and then lost to UCF by 42. We saw that team. Texas just rolled. And I think the thing that I'm not quite sure of, and I don't want to take anything away from Texas, they deserved what they got. They played well. Are they really that good? Did they play anybody that's really good enough to say, you know what, Texas has really got a chance to win this Final Four?
I agree with that, Bill.
I don't know yet.
I agree with that so much. We'll definitely talk about that Final Four there. I mean, I have a little take on that one as well, why Texas is in there, but we'll talk about that. But I agree with you 100% going into that one.
And Eddie's point right here is really good. Exactly. That for Oklahoma State, that was the national championship game for them to win Bedlam at home and beat OU. And he's probably right because they ended up getting into their conference championship. So give them credit for that. But they just weren't that team.
No, I don't think that game 49-21. I don't think where they ended up, Bill. I don't think they assumed that proper position where they ended up being number 4 there.
Texas could have scored more points.
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, Ewers ended up with 452, Bill, and he had 353 in the first half, and it was just like, take him out of there. We already won this game convincingly. We don't care. We don't need to pad stats. We've done our business.
Yeah. What did they have? 35 points at halftime, didn't they?
Yeah, it was 35. I think it was 35-13 or something like that at halftime, or 35-16 or something like that. Yeah, or 35-13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Bill, let's talk about, a undefeated team, with Bill, third string quarterback here. Third string quarterback of Florida State. Roadmaker did not play. Right. They handled business 16-6, Bill, but that undefeated season, it happened. Louisville. What do we see here, Bill?
Well, if we're going to talk rankings, we see a travesty that happened to Florida State. I just, first of all, we'll start out. I never thought Louisville was any good anyway. I said that all year long. I thought they were not that good.
They're living off of a couple wins, Bill. One being the Notre Dame lacking. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I think that from the Florida State standpoint, they're saying because they won with their second team guy, they won with their third string guy, they're not that good. Well, any other team that wins with their second or third string guy, you would say, man, they had all this adversity and they overcome the adversity. What a great team they are, and this and that. They're 13-0. They won. They beat everybody along the way, and they have a tremendous defense.
Yes. Bill, with all what you said there, that defensive stat, Bill, this is insane. 188 yards total offense for Louisville the entire game. 188 for the entire game, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I did a little stat comparison just for fun, and I'll try not to get too long on this, but in the last 3 games of the year, I actually did this with Michigan because they don't score a lot of points either.
Sure.
Michigan played Maryland and had 291 yards. Florida State played North Alabama, had 621. Rodemaker played most of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan played Ohio State, had 338. Florida State played Florida at 224. Okay. Rivalry game. Both rivalry games. Michigan played Iowa, had 213. Florida State, with their third string quarterback, played Louisville at 219.
Yeah.
Basically they're even. True. If you take the one blowout game against North Alabama and you calm that down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically the same. The other thing on the defensive side, Maryland had 262 yards against Michigan. North Alabama had 226. Ohio State had 378 against Michigan. Florida had 232 against Florida State.
Wow.
And Iowa had 155 against Michigan, and Louisville had 188. So if one team can win on defense, why can't the other team win on defense?
That is a true statement right there. Exactly. I did see something, Bill, before we get into the other the games coming up here in the Heisman talk as well, the top four. I heard someone say, talking about the Heisman here, it goes to the best player in college football. Of course, we know that. But I seen someone put a thing on Twitter, Bill. I forgot who it was. I'm not going to butcher it or say give kudos to who it was. But they said, well, you know what? We might as well give the Heisman Trophy and the best player in the country to Jordan Travis, because him not being in the game here, then that tells you that the best player for one of the best teams is not there. So we know who the best player in college football is right now.
Right.
Jordan Travis.
He knocked them out of the Final Four. One guy being hurt.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing I don't get, Bill. I mean, to me, I don't get it here. But, Bill, let's talk about the last game before we can move on here.
Yeah, I did one more comment on that I want to say to you, because you're a ball coach too, just like I was. What do you tell your kids?
To win
your games.
Yes,
win your games. Take care of your business.
Yeah.
And in the end, everything will find itself, find its way out. You just take care of your business. Florida State goes out, takes care of all their business.
But Bill, exactly what you said, coaching football up here, as you know, I lost to Aliquip this year for the second time in back-to-back years, twice, regular season and playoffs. But I heard one of the family members and, the parents say, hey, coach, I think we should move and take the 3 seed so we play 2 seed. And I was like, no, we go out and field, we play to win no matter what you do. I don't care. I don't care if I get beat by the best team, kudos to you, but I'm not going out there. Let as long as the refs don't decide the game and we get beat by a better team, that's fine, but if I go undefeated, Bill, and I don't get to the the playoff round, there's a problem with that. There's a problem with that, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just not right.
And he says Jordan Travis isn't a top 10 quarterback in college.
We will disagree on that.
I will disagree on that. I put him in top 6 the way he's played this year, Bill. I mean,
yeah,
I definitely
absolutely.
have to. Yep, definitely. Yep. All right, Bill, let's move on to, what? Hey, let's talk about it, Bill. Here it is, the Final Four, all the way down to 5 to 25 here, Bill. We don't have to go into the deep here, but I think we talk about 1 through 7 is where I want to talk about, Bill.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? There's all kinds of good stuff going on.
What?
Players opting out, too, by the way. Your favorite wide receiver at Florida State opted out today, by the way, tonight.
What's his name, Johnny?
Johnny Wilson, yep.
Wow. And I'm hearing Keon Coleman might not play this game as well, Bill. Because he's getting ready for the NFL draft as well, too. I think he's going to come out.
Yep.
That's insane. But how about we talk about let's talk about 1 through 4, and let's talk about 5 through 7 a little bit here too, of who belongs, who doesn't. Bill, do we both agree on Michigan being number 1?
No.
Oh, you're going to flip flop 1 and 2, right?
I am.
Okay. Why are we flip flopping, Bill?
Because Washington beat the crap out of Oregon, and Michigan, different style. They're just a ground and pound team, but I think Michigan is beatable, and I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to see that happen.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that later.
Definitely. I agree with everything you said there. Washington finds ways to win. They can score. They can play defense. They play 3 phases of the game here, Bill. Michigan, on the other hand, that defense carries a lot of this win situation for them. The offense, with McCarthy, we talked about. There was a week, Bill, that we talked about Heisman Trophy that a lot of people had J.J. McCarthy in there. We don't see it. I don't think he can win a game if he's down, Bill. I really don't. Penix, on the other hand, oh, yeah, he can come back and win a game 14 down. I agree with that.
Yeah, Iowa is pretty bad. They're not a good football team.
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to win that West Side. They had absolutely no offense, in which Michigan shut them out, which they should. Right. But the Michigan offense didn't score a lot of points. They got that bizarre call that led to a touchdown. They were kicking field goals the whole time. I'm not sold on that Michigan Michigan offense at this point.
Agree. Just like Eddie says, Washington has more quality wins over, Michigan too. I agree with that. The Penn State, the Ohio State game, they can live off that, just like Louisville lived off Notre Dame. Washington played, Bill, I mean, we think about this, 6 top 25 teams on their schedule this year, and they came out undefeated too. So kudos to them. I agree. I have Washington number 1, Michigan number 2, based on quality wins. And I went to offense and defensively. Who can come back in a game when they're down? Michigan is a little bit scary to me because I don't believe in that offense to come back if they're down, 7 to 10 points. Washington, we've seen it all season, Bill. They can come back.
Yeah, I'm there.
Well, Bill, how about we just talk about 3 and 4 here? And I think this falls in the category from 5 to maybe 6 too, Bill. Let's talk about 3 to 6 here. How does this fit out with you, Bill?
Yeah, Georgia is getting just as bad kind of as bad a deal as Florida State is. Just because you lose early versus lose late shouldn't matter.
True.
Texas to me, and like I say, the Oklahoma State game is not a real indicator. Texas lost to 2-loss Oklahoma.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To me, we're really splitting hairs here with these teams. But to me, that moves them down.
Agreed.
Alabama, even if you go on by the eye test, and even if they lost to Texas, they lost in week 2 or 3, whatever it was. They're getting better. You could see they're getting better. I would have personally had, and I know they would have never done this because Alabama beat Georgia. I would have had no problem putting Florida State and Georgia in them 3 and 4 spots.
Wow. Okay. I agree with you 100% with Texas there, Bill. The only reason to me right now, yes, Michigan, Washington, Alabama are top 3 of the 4 top teams in college football right now. They're where they're playing, where they stand now. I think Texas is only in there because, there's so much griping, Bill. If you beat Alabama in week 2, lose early, you can still have a shot, whatever, to get in there, as always people say. But I don't understand why they're in, but they did beat Alabama, and I think that's what the voters see. How can you put Alabama in there? Well, Texas beat them, but Bill, I don't think Texas belongs. I really don't. Just like you said, you lost to Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma isn't even worthy of a 12th ranking this year, Bill, the way they played all season. They're not.
Right. I agree. And, I think you could also probably throw Ohio State into this discussion, although, if there's the drawback against Ohio State is that they didn't play in a championship game. The top 6 that we're talking about did. So, but when you look at Ohio State, they only lost to number 1.
True.
So
true, very true. But Bill, what Eddie says right here, winning the conference is more important. Conference title is more important. We've seen years, Bill, where that wasn't the statement. If you lose your conference championship, you still have a damn right to get in there. Now our team's looking to say, look, you know what? Well, the conference championship, we better win by 30 because we want to shut the voters up right away now. I mean,
I think the problem with what Eddie's saying is that's not been the rule. The rule it's been inconsistent. What year was it? 2017 maybe, when Penn State won the Big Ten and Ohio State went to the playoff.
Yes, true.
While they were sitting at home. So, if it was the fact, if that was the way we were going to do it, but this is a pick and choose by a bunch of people sitting in a room. As Mike Greenberg, the best I saw was a film clip of Mike Greenberg going on a rant because he thought Florida State really got the bad deal. He said, we've turned this into figure skating. It's subjective scoring. It's not what you did on the field. It's subjective. A bunch of people sat around and said, we think that these teams are better than this team because this team lost its quarterback. He said, we've scored it like ice skating. I thought that was a tremendous line.
Yeah, that's a great thing there, what he said there. I mean, but I want to talk about what Eddie says here. I heard you say, a Philly press box, Bill, and I agree with you 100%. I was putting my hands up in the air, patting you on the back through the air here. Florida State doesn't make the schedules 4 and 5 years, down the line. They make them down the line, Bill. You don't know who you're playing. You don't know if Clemson's going to be great. You don't know, if Notre Dame ever comes on your schedule, whatever, Louisville, how they're going to proceed, Duke, North Carolina. But Bill, is this going to make teams come out and say, you know what, we're not going to run a cupcake schedule anymore? We talked about this prior, Bill. The Notre Dame, they go out and play the best teams. Ohio State has their category, but going to the big 55, coming to Big Ten now. Are they ever going to now assume, say, okay, we have a Big Ten schedule here. We have 3 off weeks. Well, we better go out and get an Alabama just to make our schedule look better, Bill. What do you think of that?
No, I don't think so. I think to the opposite. Well, it'll all be different with 12 teams,
True.
starting next year. But I think the fact that you are in a Power 5 conference and win all your games, would it have been any better for Florida State if, say, whoever they played, instead of playing NC State, they played Notre Dame and beat them? Would that have put them in this top 4? No, because they took them out because their quarterback got hurt. So
true.
As long as you're going to use subjective decision making, no. Why should I go lose?
Very true.
Take a chance of losing.
Now, Bill, here's the interesting thing. We know Notre Dame will never go to a conference. We know that. They play ACC schedule here, of course. They'll never go. They'll always be independent. I don't see them ever going. But what if FSU was independent, Bill? Would that made of a difference as well, or would it hurt them?
No. Again, I think this decision, and they said it. This isn't my opinion. They said it was made because their quarterback got hurt.
Just like I said earlier, Bill, whoever wasn't checking, I think, you might as well give Jordan Travis the MVP for the year, because that injury decided who the better player was on the field right now. I know he's not Heisman candidate, Bill, but I'm not saying that. But in our eyes, Bill, you know what? You knocked Florida State out because they're down to their second string quarterback, now third string quarterback. But Jordan Travis, if he was there, Bill, I know damn well they would have put him in at least 4. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, if any other Michael Penix, if Michael Penix would have got injured and they brought in their second team guy and they rolled Oregon like this, they'd still be in the top 4.
Truthful. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%.
And that's really probably what disturbs me more than anything. And I'm not a Florida State guy. I got no horse in this race at all, other than just what's fair and having coach kids and the disappointment for the kids and the coaches and the work that they put in. And, you're telling your kids to work hard, do the things, and there's a reward at the end. And guess what? You're not going. Now, let me throw something at you, though. Let's just hypothetically say, and we got a long time till January 1st to talk about this. Let's hypothetically say the way they're lined up, Alabama beats Michigan and Texas beats Washington, or at some point they lose. Well, whatever. The 1 and 2 lose. And Florida State beats Georgia.
Oh, wow.
You have one undefeated team left, and it's the team you didn't invite to the party.
Bill, we talked about this earlier, chat, off of the show, of course, during the week. And when the bowl game came out, I circled that game, Bill. Not even these games here. I circled that Georgia-Florida State game, because to me, the first thing that came out of your mouth, statement from Florida State. Yeah. This is going to be a statement to all the voters out there. Well, you know what? Shoulda, coulda, we should be there, basically. So,
yeah.
Man, if that happens,
and that's why I was a little surprised. And I understand guys are trying to take care of themselves these days, but Florida State guys opting out is not, that doesn't help them.
Now you said Johnny Wilson was out this. He's opting out.
Yeah, he announced today.
Okay.
But hey, I want to throw something. I want to throw something else out at you. From the college football playoff rankings. 1 through 4, starting in week 10. That's when they started, right? And not including this week. Number 1 was Ohio State twice, 10 and 11. Georgia, 12, 13, 14. Okay. That was who was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Okay.
Number three was Michigan, Washington,
Okay.
because Ohio State lost. So
Mm-hmm.
they fell out. Number four was Florida State, Washington, and Florida State. 4 of the 5 weeks that they and the week they took them out was the week that the quarterback got hurt. They went and won, and they brought him back in to the number 4 ranking. So with all that said, now you're at week 15. You've still got Michigan. You still have Washington. But now you have Texas, who you haven't seen in any of these rankings be in the top 4, come in at number 3. And you have Alabama, who you haven't seen in the top 4, come in at number 4. And Florida State didn't lose, but they're not in the top 4.
And you have your basically number 1 team dropping all the way down to 6 in Georgia.
Yeah, all I have in front of me is the top 4. But yeah, you're right.
That's insane, Bill. I mean, are we looking at, down to the third quarterback here with FSU, Brock Glenn, who he had a bad game, of course, but third string quarterback, Bill. You won the game.
A true freshman, never been on the field before.
Exactly. 8 for 21, 55 yards. You won the game 16-6. What do you want from a team saying, I mean, to me, Bill, this is a statement game. If I'm coaching up here, I lose my star quarterback who got me through the season. The first playoff game or last game of the season, my second string quarterback goes down. I'm 10-0 here. My last game of the season, my championship conference game. Well, I have my third string quarterback. Bill, you know what? I blow teams out 50-0. I win the game 14-0. Bill, are you going to knock me for that? Having my third string quarterback only putting up this amount of points?
Right, and I think in Florida State's defense again is you say as a team, you say, you know what? We got a young kid in here. He's never played before. He's a true freshman. We have to find a way. And they did find a way. They found it on defense, and they did just enough. He didn't hurt them. They ran the ball enough to score some points, and their defense shut down a Louisville offense and held them to 6 points. They did everything they needed to do to win the game.
Agree. I mean, take care of whoever's on paper. That's who you beat, Bill. I hate saying this. I'm always going to say this now for the rest of my life. We always talk about putting a game in the ref's hands, Bill. Last second of the game, or the refs decide the game. But to me, I'm never putting my record or my future in a voter's hands again, Bill. That's to me, oh man, I tell you, it bothers me. So, Bill, before we move on here, give me your final 4 is going to be Washington, Michigan, and who was your 3 and 4, Bill?
Oh, I get to put mine in?
You get to put yours in, Bill.
I would go Florida State, and I would probably go Alabama, just because I think they're playing so well.
Okay, I have 3 out of the 4, all 4 teams that you have, but I'm going to flip 3 and 4. I think Washington is number 1, of course. Michigan is number 2. I'm going to put Bama at 3 because right now, Bill, they're playing an outstanding ball, but I'm going to put Florida State in there. Put them at 4. I really want to see that game, Michigan and Florida State, 2 great defenses, and probably arguably the best defense in the country, Alabama, going against a high-powered Washington team. I think that would be a great matchup to me, but all I can say is, Bill, moving forward, we won't pick the games this week on the bowl games, we will, but when we get to there, Bill, Florida State, go out and handle Georgia. Make, just like Bill said, that big what if. I want to see all the voters. Bill, if I'm a press person, I want to be at that, fly on the wall, asking that question. What if? Well, what happened now? What do you think now?
Well, yeah, and the other thing, keep in mind that Rodemaker, the number 2, will be back, and he didn't die. He didn't die. Right. He had an injury. He got a concussion. He's going to be back.
Exactly.
So it's not like they had to. They're going to play next year's recruiting class.
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing Keon Coleman might be out. He might, because I think he's moving on, Bill. He wants to, move to the next level. He's arguably top 10 wide receiver this year, probably top 6. And Johnny's he's huge as well. So I think, to me, Bill, I think this is like well, Coach, we went undefeated, but I'm thinking about myself now, Coach. I'm thinking about myself now. One of those moments too, Bill.
Well, and I'm sure there's some very hurt feelings from them players. Like, why should I?
Exactly. Exactly.
Why should I go out?
Yeah.
We already lost all the love there is to lose. Why should I go out there and maybe hurt myself? We're not getting it anyway.
It kind of reminds me of Bill. I don't know the wide receivers, but Kyle Trask last year at Florida, like his last year at Florida, he had three great wide receivers. He went out and played the game. Kudos to Kyle Trask for investing in his NFL future film. But three of the top four wide receivers said, "Screw this! I'm not playing for you. Well,
Right.
why? We got a bull crap bowl. I'm not. I don't care.
Yep.
I'm thinking about
Yep.
my future." And he says, "I think FSU's best interest to move to SEC, Bill, and get out of the ACC. What do you think about that?"
Well, I don't know if it's the SEC, but I don't know that there doesn't need to be a move somewhere. Maybe they just abandon the ACC. I don't know.
I don't know.
You can't do more. You can't do more. What if the same thing? Well, there's the 12 teams. If the same thing happened next year and it was Clemson, and you leave them out.
And he says only way you could have Bama is to move Texas in. See, that's what I agree. I think that's what I was saying earlier, Bill. I think if you want Bama in, you have to put that Texas team in but then again, that controversy. How'd you take out an undefeated team?
I don't agree with that though, because I get that they beat them. They beat them in week 2, but if you look down the list, you look down the list. See number 15 and number 16. Yeah, tell me what happened when they played each other.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Number 16 beat number 15. So if you're going to use that theory up at the front, why not use it back here in the middle?
That's
they
true.
Both had the same amount of losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
One went to a conference championship, but they played head to head, and the other one won.
Mm-hmm.
So where's our consistency?
Mm-hmm. I agree, Bill. Well, Bill, you know what? How about we move on here? How about we talk about really quick? Let's talk about this, Bill. The Heisman is going to be announced this Saturday. The top 4 are there, Bill. I can't say anything negative about these 4 right here, Bill. They got it right here. They arguably agree on what we were saying. But Bill, let's talk about the I'm probably going to say the best player in the country, Marvin Harrison here. But Bill, any shot to win this year?
No, probably not.
No, I agree.
I think for Marvin Harrison, the big game will be draft day. He's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid.
Yeah, top 3. He'll be in the top 3. Definitely will be.
Yeah, I think. I'll go by the same philosophy. I think he's the best player on the field in every game that he played.
Agree.
But these numbers, Jaden Daniels' numbers are video game numbers. They're just off the chart numbers.
The only thing I seen a guy on Twitter today say, Bill, was like, you know what, Jordan Daniels is the dark horse, but he's the most prettiest horse in the game, at the stables here. His numbers, a guy put out there, Lamar Jackson, more yards than him, more rushing yards than him, and he was on an 8-3 team too. That was the Heisman Trophy. I think his was like 3,400, and he had like 900 rushing yards and like 11 touchdowns. But Bill, we haven't seen numbers like this: 38-12, 40 TDs, 4 picks, Bill, and over 1,000, 1,134 with 10 TDs on the ground, accounted for 50 TDs this season.
Yeah,
and this is his first year too at LSU, first year under the system.
Right. I think. Joel Klatt. Did I send you the clip of Joel Klatt? Did that come through? I'm not sure it came through.
I don't think I got it, Bill. I don't think I got it.
But Joel Klatt was in who I like, actually. I think he's a pretty good broadcaster and does a lot of good pieces. He said the difference with Jaden Daniels is he hasn't played a meaningful football game in about 5 weeks. So it was a matter of just going out racking up numbers. They were already out of it. And so it's a whole different thing. And in his case, he went Michael Penix, and I have no problem with Michael Penix. And he's undefeated quarterback. He went and had a big game against Oregon while Jaden Daniels was sitting home. I think it's a 2-horse race between Daniels and Penix. I think they'll really be the guys. I think if I had to split hairs again, I would take the undefeated quarterback with great numbers. I can't say anything bad about Daniels except that he lost 3 games and didn't play under the spotlight like Penix did. By the way, my screen's frozen.
Yeah, I see that, Bill. It's
At
8:45.
at 39 minutes and 24 seconds.
That 8:45 mark, Bill.
Crazy.
I know. And we used the booster tonight too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's
Oh, I think I'm going to lose Bill there for a second. Bill will be hopping right back on. Usually, I don't know what it is. It's usually around 8:45 that Bill freezes. I think it's that Pennsylvania, Florida connection that we have. Every week it happens, but Bill would be right back if he's not. Yep, there it is. The curse is struck again. Of course, Eddie, you already know. You all follow us all the time. It happens. Bill will be right back, of course. Kid says, Harrison knows that he won't win. He said that weeks ago that he just want to be invited. It's a huge statement. Kid, who do you have? Do you have Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix? I think it's going to be Michael Penix, of course. You know, they always usually go to undefeated, you know, quarterback or running back. But last time I think a not undefeated quarterback that won the Heisman was, I believe, Lamar Jackson, of course, when he won it with Louisville, of course. Then I think the second year he finished third in that Heisman voting. But Jaden Daniels' numbers are insane. And Michael said, okay, Jane Kidd says Penix as well. I agree with that 100%. 100%. I agree with that. But Jaden Daniels, is it a, I want to say a hit or miss category, not a hit or miss category, but is it a knock that Jaden Daniels plays with LSU where he doesn't have that big game, of course, like Michael Penix has played all season? Or is it a thing where you look at his numbers, it's just mind blowing, like Bill said, you know, PlayStation numbers, of course. But what is the Heisman? I mean, if you put Michael Penix on the LSU Tigers team, you know, would he have those kind of numbers? We know he won't run the ball as well for, you know, coming off 2 ACLs. But then Jaden Daniels, if you put him with Washington, what would his numbers be with Roma Duzier? You know, I know Michael Penix has him. Jaden Daniels has Malik Neighbors too. So where do you put that category if it was a little bit different? Or if you put Marvin Harrison on a team like with Michael Penix or Jaden Daniels, you know? But that is my question. Eddie says, Paul, I've heard that there could be a 12 playoff. They are going to boost the playoff teams next year, which we looked at. The top 12 teams will be in there. I think 1 and 2, 1, 2 get a bye, or 1, 2, 3, 4 get a bye. I wasn't really looking at it, but I can't wait for that as well. The ACC was one of the conferences to vote against. To me, it's one of the less conferences. Of course, you look at the Pac-12, the SEC, and then you look at the Big Ten. I mean, that's who you really look at right now. Those are the conferences that you can go. I mean, I don't have any, you know, just like Bill said, I don't have any, you know, a horse in the race here. I can't stand Alabama. You know, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I can't stand Alabama, you know, but I have to put them in there. I mean, the conference schedule, you know, who they play. I mean, you're basically playing an NFL farm screen every week. Washington and Oregon, Oregon State, Arizona, you know, going Oregon as well, Washington. That's a juggernaut schedule if you can make it out of there. All right, there he is.
I got to stop saying I don't know what it is, and it's crazy, but it's crazy.
Bill, here's a proper statement from Eddie tonight. The curse has struck again.
No
8:45
at the same time. I just don't.
It is weird. Oh,
I'm talking. I look up the screen. All of a sudden, it's frozen. I'm like, oh, here we go. And the thing about it is, the whole computer freezes.
Wow.
So I can't just X out of this app and come back on. I got to shut the whole. I got to basically hit the power button, go all the way off, and then come all the way back on.
Bill, let me ask you a question real quick. How do you feel? I know you're undefeated there, and you just got left out of the whole program there for a second, Bill. They didn't even let you in. They kicked you out and didn't even get a shot to make your statement, Bill.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
Let's see. There's a couple of comments here. I heard there's going to be a 12-team playoff, you know, coming next year. Is it 12 or 10, Bill? Is it 12?
12. Yeah.
Okay. So 1 through 4 get the bye, correct? Is that what they're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and as it turns out, if you looked back at that ranking sheet you had up there,
we'll put that back,
it just so happens this year that the 12th team has 2 losses, the 13th team has 3 losses. So everybody with 0, 1, or 2 losses would get in.
Okay.
It just happens that way. From 13, 14, 15, all is 3 or more losses. So this is probably the perfect scenario for the 12-team playoff. And the way they would do it in this case would be Florida State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Ole Miss, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Missouri.
Could you imagine that, Bill? Ohio State and Penn State in the first round of the playoffs? Wow, that's what I want to see, Bill. I can't wait till we can fast forward to this. Bill, every year we talk about a Cinderella team. Bill, if I know we really shouldn't do this, but if it was 12 teams right now, Bill, what Cinderella team do you have 5 to 12 that can make the deepest run?
Ohio State.
Ohio State? Okay, I would probably go, you know what?
I mean, I would still keep Georgia in there too because
yeah.
But because Georgia could be in the top 4, like we said. But I think Ohio State would be the one I would probably be the most concerned about.
I would too. I would like to see it would probably be definitely be Ohio State or Georgia because Georgia's deserving as well. Oh man, I can't wait till we fast forward, Bill. Why can't we make it to the top 18 or top 16 so my Notre Dame team gets in there, Bill, so we can be relevant?
Yeah, well, there you go. Hey, I'm sure he was joking. JJ Watt made a plea with a tweet and said, "Hey, emergency college football.
Yes.
Make it 16. Make it 6 teams now. And put Georgia and Florida State in and make it a 16 playoff right now."
Win and get in. One of those games, Bill, where you knock us both out of here. A team that had what 27 straight games, Bill, in Georgia, and they lose by 3 points. They don't get in. An undefeated team can't get in with a third string quarterback. Let those two teams play and just bring them in. Bring one team, play and get in, just like what the baseball does. Or
right.
Do it.
And then all your 0 and 1 loss teams would be in if that were to happen like that.
Yeah. And Bill, I want to, before we get into the bowl games really quick, we'll take like 5 minutes on those. We'll just run through some real quick. But Bill, let me ask you, if you're a high-priced recruit coming in, and you're the number 1 quarterback, and you've already committed to Florida State, coming in there next year, Bill, does this make you think like, you know what? Hell no, I'm not going to the ACC. I got an offer here. I'm going to a power conference to play because I want to play for a national championship too. I can't go to Florida State and be undefeated and not play.
Again, I would think probably, but not when you're going to 12 teams because you still have a chance.
True. Yeah, very true. Very true.
But I could see where that could affect you. Yeah.
Or you can just go to the transfer portal, Bill, and get the next best quarterback in the nation out there, right?
And get $1 million to $2 million.
Yes, which we'll talk. There's some big ones out there, Bill. I can't believe the big one, Kyle McCord, Bill, leaving Ohio State. I don't know, Bill. I just don't understand this transfer portal right now. I really don't.
Oh, what is there? 1,200 kids in the portal already?
I think I sent you that a couple nights ago. Or last night was like what 1,200 transfer portals, all kids already in the transfer portal, Bill.
Yeah.
Like my goodness, oh man.
Well, what I think would be interesting, and maybe as we get through into next season, we can look at this. Somebody will have it out there and say, how many guys did not find a home?
Yeah. And Bill, the other thing is like if you're a prized possession, coming out of high school, that junior, senior, not junior, but could be on the junior class. But you go, you're a senior, you're the top quarterback in the nation. Bill, that doesn't make you the best quarterback in the nation because that transfer portal puts you behind that. You're already getting a veteran QB to go there. Well, you know what? I'm going to take Bill Furman. He's leading the league, the conference down in Florida, best quarterback in the nation. Well, damn, you know what? Riley Leonard, let's say use him for example. Riley Leonard's played 3 years now. I'm going to get him before I'm taking Bill.
Well, and here's a perfect scenario to take that. I think you'll like this. Let's just assume Quinn Ewers leaves Texas. Ooh. And Arch Manning is sitting there as now going to be a redshirt freshman. And they decide they're going to go get the kid you just said.
Well, I know what you said, Riley Leonard. I know now Ewers is staying 1 more year, Bill. He announced that like 3 days ago. He is staying for another year.
Well, say he was leaving. You say he said he was leaving, and you got the kid that was supposed to be the 5-star star, but he's still a redshirt freshman, and you're like, well, he ain't ready yet. I'm going to go get this 3 or 4 year starter and bring him in here.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen in places.
That's exactly what happened. And then you're going to get the kids in depth chart 2, 3, and 4, Bill. They're going to be transferred. They're going to, play the lottery and go to the transfer portal. It doesn't always work out that way, Bill. Look at Drew Pine, went to Arizona, Arizona State. He started 2 games as a starter for Notre Dame. Tyler Buckner started games. He goes to Alabama. He's 2nd and 3rd on the depth chart. It doesn't always work out for them,
That's right. Joe
So,
says it's up to
16.
1,600 in the portal.
Wow, that is insane. That's insane. They need to stop the transfer for the regular season during the football season. Well, they do. They do. Like, what is the last 2 weeks, Bill, of the regular season is when they do it?
Yeah, and I agree with Eddie on this. To
Yeah.
me, this is a real. We got kids playing in championship games here and bowl
Yes.
games.
Yes. Yes.
You know, to me, I mean, everything would have to change because of the recruiting day, signing day,
Mhm.
and all that. But having these kids that the minute the season ends, they jump in the portal when they still have a bowl game. You know, and
Agree.
then believe it or not, Paul, these guys are still supposed to be student athletes,
Yes.
student
Yes.
athletes.
Keyword, Bill.
So they're supposed to be going to college. You know, when the football season ends and they say they're going in the transfer portal, they're leaving school, I'm sure.
Of course.
So, you know, and if you push that into January for the portal, now you got the next semester for the kids that aren't going to have a school to go to. I mean, there's just lots of problems with the whole transfer portal period.
There is that, Bill. Just like Joe said, 1,600 players, Bill, and when the season's not even over yet, it's over for a lot of teams, Bill. But 1,600 kids have already put their name in the lottery to find a different home. That to me is just ruining the game, Bill. It really is.
Well, and you know, and along with that, you've got however many the number of bowl teams are now, 68 or whatever there are.
Yeah.
You know, plus the non-bowl teams have guys transferring all over the place too. It's just chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Bill, listen, how about we get into some bowl games here? Now, a lot of these teams you and I do not really follow, Bill. We ain't going to say we're going to watch every damn game out there, but let's, I think there's 9 games this week coming up, and we'll do it week by week here, Bill. Let's go to run a poll. Let's go to the first one here. Georgia Southern 6-6 playing Ohio 9-5 at the Myrtle Beach, Bill. The line is Georgia Southern 3.5, Bill.
I'm going to go Miami, Ohio with their 9 wins.
I am too. I'm going to go Miami as well. We're both right there.
I saw that Myrtle Beach Bowl was in Conway, South Carolina. I used to do work in Conway, South Carolina. It was a spot on the map. And I can't imagine where they have a stadium in Conway that they didn't have 20, 30 years ago when I was there. I don't know where you could play a bowl game in Conway, South Carolina. Been there.
It's probably going to be at a high school stadium somewhere, Bill.
It could be.
I used to go down to Miami and, golf down there once in a while. And I agree with you. I don't know where the hell they could put a stadium down there, honestly, but hey, listen, at least the coaches get to go down and play some golf, Bill. But I'm going to take Miami as well. Eddie's going Miami as well. So we'll write that down. We'll see how Eddie does as well. Jacksonville State 8-4, Bill. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns 6-6 at the Carrier. I think it's the Carriers Bowl in the Superdome. Jackson State is -3, Bill. I feel the same way you do, Bill.
Against who?
Jacksonville State versus Louisiana. Louisiana, that's what it is. The Raging Cajuns.
I'll go Louisiana.
I'm going to go there, too. I'm going to go Louisiana. I like the Raging Cajuns. Miami. Now, this is a good game, Bill. I probably will watch this one. Miami of Ohio, 11-2 versus App State, 8-5. I think this is going to be a shootout game. This is a good game. This is at the Avocado from Mexico Bowl game.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to go with App State in this one.
Really? Okay. I'm going to go Miami. I watched Miami play last week, and they played a hell of a game, too. They lost their conference championship game. I love App State. They can score. I think this game will probably be in the 80s to 90s, Bill, but I'm going to go Miami. You're going to go App State. Okay. All right. Miami. New Mexico. Now, you have a case in this one, Bill. New Mexico State, 10-4. Fresno State, 8-4, Bill, at the Azalea, New Mexico Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going Bulldogs in this one.
Me
Fresno
too.
State. I got interest in this one.
Definitely. I know you do. All right. Here's UCLA, Bill, versus Boise State. UCLA 7-5, Boise State 8-5. UCLA is -3 at the something Stacko. I don't know. It's a coffee, I think it is, in LA.
And their quarterback left UCLA, right?
Yes, he did.
He's in the portal.
Dante Moore, I think is. Yep, Dante Moore, I think.
I saw his name associated with the Fighting Irish today.
Really?
I did.
I'm hearing him. I'm hearing Riley Leonard, and I'm even hearing I forgot it was Will Rogers somewhere. I don't even know, Bill.
Yeah, Will is a Downingtown kid.
Is he from? He plays at Mississippi State now, correct?
No, Kansas State.
Oh, Kansas State. Okay.
And he's in the portal. Will Howard.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hearing different names.
He set a pile of records out there, and he's from Downingtown.
He's a Downingtown Whippet, right? Is that what they are?
Yep.
Downingtown Whippets. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going Boise State.
I'm lost track of the game.
UCLA, Boise State. I'm going Boise State here, bro.
I'm going Boise State based on the quarterback situation.
No quarterback.
There.
Exactly. Eddie's got Boise State as well. Here's one. California 6-6. The Golden Bears versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders at 6-6 as well. And the Independence Shreveport Bowl. Texas Tech is -4, Bill.
I'll go Texas Tech.
Me too. I'm going Texas Tech as well. All right. Let's see here. We got another game here. Western Kentucky 7-5 versus Old Dominion 6-6. Old Dominion is 2.5 favorites here, and this is the famous. I don't even know what the Toasty Bowl or something. I don't even know some of these names anymore. I can't.
I think on that list, I don't know if we'll get to it tonight or if it's further on the list. I believe there's a Pop-Tart Bowl. Really, I'm not making that up.
Well, hell, Notre Dame's going to the Frosted Flakes Bowl. The Tony the Tiger Bowl, Bill.
I believe the Pop-Tart Bowl is in Orlando at some point.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm going Western Kentucky.
I'm going to go Western Kentucky, too. We'll both go there. Okay, 2 more games here. University of Texas San Antonio 8-4 versus Marshall 6-6. And this is called the Scooters Coffee Bowl.
I'm going Thundering Herd. Why not?
Me too. I'm going to go Marshall. And, Bill, the biggest game of the week, as we always circle this game, the Army-Navy game, Bill.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Bill, both teams are 5-6.
Yeah. Go Army, Bill. Beat Navy.
My dad hated the Navy. He hated the Navy being a Marine Corps, Colonel in the Marine Corps. He hated the Navy, Bill. He always rooted for the Army. So I got to live to my dad here, and I got to go Army. I'm going to go Army there. Yep. Let's see. Real quick, Will Rogers from Mississippi State, Will Howard from Kansas State and Downingtown. Wow, they're both from Downingtown?
No.
Okay.
I guess we were confused. You said Will Rogers and I said Will Howard.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, they're looking at Will Rogers. Yeah.
There's both. Yeah,
they're looking at Will Rogers coming from Mississippi State. Eddie says we are Marshall, and then he's also going Army. All right, Bill. Wow, college football is almost over, Bill. It really is.
Hey, one thing while we're on the Heisman, back to the Heisman for just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Last night was the 50th anniversary of the announcement of John Cappelletti from Penn State as the Heisman Trophy winner, and that famous speech that he gave at the Downtown Athletic Club 50 years ago. And you probably don't remember that. Maybe.
Well, Bill, I don't remember when I was 2 years old, Bill. I don't remember that far back.
Well, he was my favorite back in the day. He's a Delaware County guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Bill, before we get out here, how's high school football down there? Is any upsets going on in your neck of the woods?
Lakeland's playing in the state championship this weekend.
Wow, really? Yeah. Lakeland?
Yeah,
wow.
They lost a couple games. Well, they lost to Prep, and they lost to that Norland, that opening weekend. They're out of Miami. And the last I looked, Norland, unless they lost this past weekend, they were undefeated still.
Okay.
Unless they lost, I didn't look this week, but
gotcha.
Yeah, wow. they're playing in the state championship. The Dreadnoughts.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. The reason why I said that because St. Joe's Prep again, Bill. They're in the state championship again. This year they only lost. To me, Bill, they better finish top 5 if they win this because they only lost to IMG Academy by 3 points. And they were number 3 in the nation at that time. So it is what it is. But go Prep, of course, and go Lakeland as well. Your neck of the woods too, Bill.
Yeah, a lot of teams for Prep to jump, even if they do win. Because all those other teams are probably going to win too. It's going to be hard for them to get. What are they, 9?
Yeah, I think they're 9. It's in the ESPN poll. I think they're 9, Bill, and the Max Prep poll. I think they're 8. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Myrtle Beach is actually Ohio University of Southern. That's what we have on there. Mile. Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach Bowl. Wow.
Oh, did we say Miami of Ohio maybe and not Ohio?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Miami, Ohio is playing App State is what it is, Bill. That's what it is. Yeah, Ohio. Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Bill, you ready to get out here so we can do this once again next week?
I am. Let's do it again, and we'll have a Heisman Trophy winner. We'll have an Army Navy winner, and there'll be plenty of NIL and portal things to discuss, I'm sure.
Bill, do we have like a 3 hour show to do the transfer portal next week? I mean, or whenever we want to do that one, because it's gonna take time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to be yeah.
All right,
For
Bill.
sure.
Definitely. Let's get out of here. My name is Paul Spencer. That is the legend, Bill Furman. Bill, where can they find you at once again?
Philly Press Box Radio, Wednesday night, 7:00 tonight. Before this show, we did our show once a week, 472nd show, I believe it was this week for Philly Press Box Radio. You can also check us out on Twitter, Philly Space Press Box Space Radio, and on YouTube, Philly Press Box Radio.
Sounds good, Bill. And Bill, give me your final score for the Eagles-Cowboys game. I know, Chet surprised me. He took the Eagles, wanted to be a smart man and take the Cowboys. But what is your final score of this game, Bill? I think 33-26 Cowboys win this week.
27-21 Eagles.
Okay. We'll talk about that next week too, Bill.
There you go.
All right, Bill. Once again, thank you. I appreciate all the live viewers out there. Always subscribe. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, otbboxsports.com, of course, on the website. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Paul Spencer. That is the legend, Bill Furman, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Until then, have a great weekend.
All right.